Meanwhile, in stately Wayne Manor...
I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Another Build the 1966 Batmobile episode is coming at you today on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. So today, another short and sweet episode. We've just got a couple things to do. We're going to be installing the trunk compartment and then working on the front bulkhead, basically just pushing the brake pedal and the gas pedal. Although we do kind of address an issue that's been stumping some people, which will be sort of more clear when we get into the interior, working on the interior of the car. But let's get into the build, and then we can talk about it after.
And in the Batcave, deep below stately Wayne Manor...
Here is issue 63. Oh, we have Catwoman back, Julie Newmar. Looks like we have a trunk compartment, and we'll be bringing back this little pipe and cap we made in a previous episode. So it looks like we'll just be installing the cap into the trunk and then the trunk onto the vehicle. So let me grab this and then our parts pack for issue 63. Alright, so this is the trunk compartment, plastic piece here. And here we have our fuel tank filler cap assembly. Alright, so we are going to be putting that right there like so. And that is going to go in with 2 AP screws. So there is a note here about... So we got AP screws, AM screws, and CM screws in this pack. And so it did want us to make sure that when we get to fitting this trunk piece into the car, we're using both CM and AM screws. So make sure to keep them separate and to check the instructions to make sure that you're using the correct screw in the correct position. So just wanted to get that out there, but maybe a little ahead of myself because the first part we're doing here is attaching this piece with AP screws. Alright, so that is on there like so. So now we need to bring the car back, and it looks like this is going right like so. And so, yes, so according to the instructions, for the 2 forward holes, we are using AM screws. And then for these 2 rear ones in the back, we're using CM screws. So we're going to need 4 AM screws for the 2 front sections and then 2 CM for the rear. So I'm going to go ahead and do the AM screws first. And here's where I remember in a last episode or the episode before we got those blocks. You can put those under here so when you're screwing these down, you're not putting so much pressure on. Alright, I cannot even see that, so I'm going to need to turn this a little. There we go. So you're not putting so much pressure, you can use those blocks. But these are going in pretty easily, so we're not having to put a whole lot of pressure on them anyway. Perfect, and then we're putting 2 CM screws in the rear here. All right, perfect. So that is it for issue 63. One thing I just find interesting is this is evidently the fuel tank pipe, fill pipe. So this is how you're going to add, like you take this cap off. So you have to like put your gas thing over the mobile crime computer. That's crazy. But anyway, that is the trunk compartment installed. So in the next issue, we will not need the car. So I'm going to put this aside. So here we are with issue 64. And we're still in season 2. So, wow, I guess I totally missed it. We're over halfway in this build. I believe there's 120 issues, and we're on issue 64. So it looks like we are going to be working on the front bulkhead and attaching some pedals. So, and then, yeah, once we're done with that, we're not actually installing it yet. We're just doing that, so we will put it aside. Here is the parts pack for issue 64. Okay. So let's get these all out of here. All right, so we have the front bulkhead. We have a gas pedal, a brake pedal, a footrest, and 2 bulkhead brackets. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning this over and we're going to be installing the bulkhead brackets. So those are going to go right like so. So there is sort of a flat side and then a side with sort of a bulge. We want the flat side facing up. So it's going to go just like that. And those are going on with CP screws. All right, so that is those. So that's these brackets are gonna help us attach this into the car when we get to that point. All right, now we want to turn this up like so. So these are push to fit. It does not say we need to glue them. So the first thing, and again, like we've had in previous things with some of these, like this one, the pegs are different sizes. So there's one that's thicker than the other one. And then the holes, obviously, one's bigger. So the thicker one goes up toward the top. Okay, so there is that one. And then the next is the brake pedal. And that is going in right there. And it doesn't say to glue these, it is staying in. And then the gas pedal is going right there. There was a note here I've thought about. Oh yeah, some of the elements in this phase are fixed using pins. Be careful to apply pressure evenly when fitting these parts. Obviously, yeah, you don't want to break off the, snap the pin. But yeah, these are holding in without any glue. So that's it for issue 64. We're not attaching this to the car yet. We've just created this piece. But I don't know if you have watched any other creator videos about this. When we assembled the car, well, we haven't got to that stage yet, but when we do assemble the car, we're going to be installing 2 different, what look like gear shifts in the cockpit area, and there's no clutch. So people were confused about, you know, why do we have a gear shifter with no clutch? And it's very interesting because now as we move into, let me bring the Lego portion over, and you'll see why people might be a little confused. Because, well, now it's very hard to see since we attached these pieces on top here, but I guess you'll have to believe me, and I'll try to take a picture of it. But in the Lego version, there is a clutch. There's a gas pedal, a brake, and a clutch. And so here we have a gear shifter here. So I think one of the confusions with the scale model version is there's two sort of gear shifter looking things, and one of them is like the gear shifter, and the other one's for the afterburner, I believe. But yeah, there's no clutch on the scale model side. So let me put this aside, and then we'll get into the Lego portion. Okay, here we are on the Lego portion. Last week we put on the beam here, this long beam. We also created this center console and the Bat fire extinguisher. So it looks like this episode we're going to be focusing some more on the interior details here. So we're doing steps 191 through 197. All right, that is it for the Lego side. So we just focused on this area here. We did put in these pieces here. These were stickers, as you saw. But we did put those in, and then we focused on this front area here. So that is it for the Lego side. So to recap this episode, on the scale model side, we installed the trunk compartment, and then we assembled this front bulkhead section, which we are not attaching yet. We just push these pieces on. And then on the Lego side, we put in the door emblems, which were stickers, unfortunately. And then we focused on this front section here. So that will do it for episode 32. Okay, like I said, short and sweet. We just had those two components that we worked on. So what do you think about the pedal situation? It's interesting that we have a gas pedal, brake pedal, and clutch in the Lego model, but on the scale model, we only have a gas pedal and a brake. Yeah, so very interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not like that much of a crazy fan where I know the exact specifications of the 1966 TV series Batmobile. So I don't know if the original one was an automatic or a manual. I don't know, but I find it interesting that I know in other creators' build videos they commented on it because there are two gear shifter looking things in the cockpit. One I do believe is a gear shifter, and the other one I think is for the afterburner, which we did install in the Lego version. But yeah, interesting that no clutch on the scale model side, but we get a clutch on the Lego side. So let's do the summary really quick. For the scale model, 5 steps and 7 parts. And for the Lego side, 30 steps and 47 parts. So total to date, we've got some nice round numbers on the scale model side, 300 steps and 350 parts. And on the Lego side, 439 steps and 1,098 parts. Okay, so as I mentioned in a previous video, we are over halfway. I believe there's to be 120 issues in the scale model, and we are, with this episode, we finished issue 64. That was the last one we have done. So we are a little over halfway. So I believe next week we start working on the interior on the scale model side. I'm not sure if we're working on the dash or continuing with that bulkhead, but I do believe we're doing something with the interior. And then on the Lego side, I'm sure we'll also continue. We started kind of putting in those seat backs and that center console, so I'm sure we'll continue on with the interior section there as well. And then the only thing left will be body parts on the scale model side. I did in one of my shipments that I got last week, which is probably another 6 to 8 weeks out episode-wise. but it had a part of the exterior body. So we are getting close. We're getting close. But until we see each other again, remember to like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel. Especially that subscription and sharing is really awesome. But we're trying to hit some subscriber milestones to give away free Lego sets. So hit that subscribe button, totally free to enter the giveaway, and shipping is totally free if you win. So nothing to lose. Hit that subscribe button. And until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.